Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Very excited to have you here to learn more about related records and lookup fields. Let's share my screen. So I'm Larissa Squires. I'm a Customer Success Manager here at Kintone. So before we jump into the platform, let's go over some housekeeping. So you're likely listening using your computer's speaker system, but if you prefer to join over the phone, just select telephone in the audio pane and the dial-in information will pop up. If you have any questions at any point, you can ask them by typing into the questions pane of the control panel, collect your questions and answer them during the Q&A session at the end. All right, so what will we be covering today? So today we're going to review what is a related record, configuring related records, what is a lookup field, configuring lookup fields, and then we'll review the differences and similarities between related records and lookup fields. So let's jump in. So first, I just want to let you know it's important to review the two side by side because when you first get into the platform, you may not know which would be better for your use case. So lots of times they can get confusing and people think they're similar when there's actually some big differences between the two. So first, let's take a look at the two apps we will be using to review related records and lookup fields. So we have this Outbound Companies app, and then we also have Outbound Leads app. So the Outbound Companies app lists out the companies that are being targeted. It contains a related record that pulls over lead reach out progress from the Outbound Leads app. And then the Outbound Leads app contains the names of specific leads within that company and where they are with being reached out to. So this app contains a lookup field that pulls over the company phone number from the Outbound Companies app. So we're going to start with Outbound Companies and start reviewing related records. So what is a related record? The related records field automatically pulls in records from an application to the single record of another based on a matching key field. So this is how you can relate your database apps together. Within this app, there's a related record here that pulls over information from the Outbound Leads app. So in order to pull from one app to another, you'll need to set fetch criteria. So fetch criteria refers to the two fields that need to match in order for the information pull to happen. So fetch criteria is specified by the following two fields. So we have a field on the form of the same app as where the related record is placed. So that's a field in here. And then you'll also have a field in the app that holds records to be displayed in the related records field. So when the selected fields for fetch criteria match, data from the data source app will be displayed. So in this app, the fetch criteria is the company's name. So when the company name in our Leads app matches the company name in the company app, it will display information from the Leads app into this company app. So a few things to note. The related records field cannot be displayed on the record list screen, and you can't use data in related records when creating a graph, using automatic calculation, or when searching. All right, so now we're going to go into configuring related records. So let's look at how to configure them. We'll go to into our app settings. So the requirements for related records are, you'll need two Kintone apps, one data source app to pull information from and one app to display the data. As a side note, you can use the same app for both. So you can pull information from one app to the same app. And then each application must have the field with a valid combination to use as the fetch criteria. So let's get into the settings of a related record. So first, from within the app, you'll click the gear wheel to navigate to your app settings. And then from the form tab, normally you would drag and drop the related records field into the form. But we are going to review the settings that we already have set up in the app. So we'll hover over the related records field and then click settings. So you're going to set the following things. First, you have name, so you'll enter the desired name, or you can select to hide the field name. You're going to choose a data source app, so select the app you wish to pull the data from. So here I have Outbound Leads. Fetch criteria, so you'll set the criteria to pull records in. So from the first dropdown, select the field in the current app, and then the second dropdown, select the field from the data source app. So when these two fields are equal to each other, the associated records will display in the current app. So filter, you can set optional filters to view only the data that meets the filtered conditions in the lookup picker. So data source app fields to display. Using the dropdown, select one or more fields to display in the current app. So that would be, we're pulling over the first name, last name, phone number. Display order, so set an optional sort to override the default record sorting of descending by record number. So here I have it organized by the lead status and then where they are within their outreach. And then max records to display at a time. So from the dropdown, choose the desired amount of records you'd like to display, either 5, 10, 20, or 30. And then when you're all set with this, you'll click Save. We're going to click Cancel for now. And then you would save form, and then you would update your app. So please note the conditions for fetch criteria and filter are determined depending on the permission level of the user who is viewing the records. So if the user who is viewing the record does not have permission to view the fields that are used for the conditions, those conditions will not be correctly determined. So when setting the fetch criteria, it's important to know only certain fields can be specified. So let's come in here and take a look. So within the current app, you can choose from text, number, calculated, link, or record number as your fetch criteria. Additionally, depending on the field you choose in the current app will determine what you can choose as the field in the data source app. So for example, if the field you are using in the current app is a text field, and then the field in the data source, my apologies. So if the field you're using in the current app is a text field, then the field in the data source app must either be a text, link, or lookup field with the key field as text. So for further details on the combination of fields that can be specified as fetch criteria, please visit the article Configuring a Related Records Field in the Kintone Help Center. So some other things to note about related records. Any field that's set in a table cannot be specified for the fetch. Values in calculated fields are treated as a number, regardless of the display format that is set for the field. And then when the display format of a non-number type is set, each value in the calculated field is treated differently. So please refer to the article Configuring Related Records in the Help Center for more details on when setting a non-number type. So we'll cancel out of here. So now we're going to hop over to our Outbound Leads app to review lookup fields. All right, so you can configure lookup fields to map fields from one application to another. So it's important to remember that a lookup field is a one-time pull of data from a data source app into fields in the destination app. So by auto-filling data from one app to another, it's going to save time of entering the data, and it's also going to prevent any inputting errors. So in the Outbound Leads app, you can look up a company name to pull over information from the Outbound Companies app. So to look up information with a lookup field, you'll enter the full name or partial string in the lookup field. So if there's only one company that matches the partial string entered, the information is automatically entered on the form as specified by the settings. So it pulled over the company number. If there is more than one company that matches, you will see a list of company names that pop up to choose from as your desired lookup. And if you don't provide anything, and you click Lookup, you'll see a list of all your lookup options that you can choose from, and then just click Set. So only one keyword can be specified in the lookup. In addition, search keywords have the same limitations as the search bar feature. So data copied with the lookup feature is saved independently from the source app. Even if parts of the data are changed or deleted in the source app, so in this case, the Outbound Company app, data that was previously retrieved is retained in this Outbound Leads app until the user clicks Lookup within the record again. So the data pulled from the lookup now lives in your new app. So if data in the record in the data source app is updated, the record in the destination app isn't going to automatically look up. You must navigate back to the destination app. You'd have to edit the record. You'd click Lookup again and save. So when you click Lookup again, it will refresh this and pull in the newest information. So in this example, if I was to change the company phone number in the Outbound Companies app, it would not automatically change in this app. I would need to edit it, re-lookup, and then save. And now we will go to configuring the lookup field. So within the app, you'll click the gear wheel to enter the app settings. From the form tab, normally we drag and drop the lookup field to the form, but we're going to review the settings we already have set for this. So click the gear wheel on Lookup and click Settings. So here you can set the following options. So name the desired field name. You can also hide the field name here. The data source app. So you're going to select the app you wish to pull the data from. And then we have the key field. So you'll select a field in the data source app that will be the key identifier in the two apps relationship. So this is what you will be typing in the lookup field to pull the data over. Under field mappings, from the first drop-down, select the field in the current app that you wish to map a field from the data source app to. And then from the second drop-down, select the field from the data source app to display the current app's field. So these fields must be the same field type. You will be pulling data from the source app into already created fields in the app. If you haven't created those fields yet, you'd wanna do that before you set up these settings. So fields shown in the lookup picker. So using the dropdown, you can select one or more fields to display when selecting which record to pull information from. And you can filter. So set optional filters to view only the data that meets the filtered conditions in the lookup picker. And then sort by, you can set an optional sort to override the default sort of descending by record number. And then you'll click Save. You're going to save the form, and then normally you'd click Update App. So we are going to discard these changes for now. So some things to note: fields set in a table can't be used as a key field. If you delete the lookup field in an app, the values copied from the data source app into the current app will remain unchanged in the record. So when you are setting a key field in lookup settings, the following fields can be used. You can use a text, number, calculated, lookup, link, or a record number. So that key field is what you will be typing in to match the data source app to pull over the information into the current app. So when setting up field mappings, you need to have certain fields in your current app in order for the information from the data source app to pull over. So as I said earlier, you will have to add in those fields before you set up your lookup settings. So as an example, if you need to pull over a number field from the data source app into the current app, you can't pull the number field into a text field. You would need a number field as the destination field. And then for a text field from the data source app, you would need the destination field to be text, text area, or rich text. So for a full list of fields that can be specified for field mapping, please visit our Configuring Lookup Fields article in the Kintone Help Center. So once set, the data source app and the key field settings cannot be changed in the lookup settings. So we'll go back into this and take a look at that notice. So highlighted in red right here. So you'll need to delete the current lookup field and drag and drop over a new field to configure new settings if you did need to make any changes. So when you update the existing records, we recommend you do a bulk update with a CSV file. Alternatively, you would need to click into each record to update the lookup information and resave the form. So if you need to do an update of your lookups, we recommend doing the bulk update. So the last topic we have to go over is related records versus lookup fields. So now we're going to compare the two to see which would be best for your use case. So there are some key differences. So the main thing to remember is related records will list records from another app onto an app form, and a lookup field retrieves data from another app and places it in an app. So one retrieves and one just lists information within records. So with that, the data from related records lives within the data source app. And with lookup, the data will be pulled over and then lives in the app containing the lookup field. So with related records, you can pull in information from the same app you are setting the related record in. With lookup, you must pull the data from another app. They both let you click in to it to navigate to the original record the data came from. So if you noticed, you have the little page icon to the left of the related record. If you click that, it'll open up that record from the data source app. And then with the lookup field, the lookup is highlighted in blue when saved, and you can click that to navigate to the original record. So information pulled from a lookup can be used when graphing and can be seen in the list view of an app, whereas information from a related record cannot. So that goes back to it doesn't actually live in the app that you're pulling it into. It lives in the data source app. Related records updates info as it changes in the data source app, while lookup does not update automatically. With the lookup, you would have to edit the record, re-click lookup, and then save it for the new changes to be updated. So for related record, you need to have permission to view the app to see the results, whereas lookup is a copy paste. You don't need view permission from the data source app to actually see the information. So now we'll go over some more specific uses that you can use for both. So one thing to note is they're often used together. So we often use them together because when you do a related record, you need to have the exact same value as fetch criteria. So by using the lookup in the data source app, you know what the fetch criteria is because it was pulled directly over. So things you can use related records for. So it's good when you need information about maybe different pieces. So an example would be car and machine parts that are related. If you need to see if there's another record with the same value, so you can have that show different records that have the same email address. So this helps verify whether someone is already in the database with the same email. So as an example for our developer app, we do this to see if someone already has a license that they signed up with that email. And then you can also use it for surveys to see results from different people at a company. If you have a main customer app, you can pull over survey results from that customer, from the survey response app to the customer record. And then what you could use lookup fields for. So this is good for financial situations. So if you have, for example, a sales tax app where you pull over sales tax to an order form app, the sales tax may change, but it will not update the previous records created in the order form app. So it's good anytime you just need to pull over information from one app to another. And when you need to pull over data from other apps to use for reporting with graphs, or if you need it to display on the records list view of another app. So those are some key differences, maybe a few similarities, and what you could use related records and lookup fields for. So this concludes our training on related records and lookup fields. So we're now going to begin answering the questions submitted during today's presentation. As a reminder, you can still submit questions through the questions pane in your attendee control panel. So I'll give you a minute now to formulate any questions you might have. All right, now I'll go over a couple of questions. Can you change the width of a field that is displayed in the related records field? Unfortunately, you cannot. The width of a field that is displayed in the related records field cannot be changed. Alternatively, you can change the number of characters for the field name, and that could adjust the displayed width within the related records field. Can the related records field be displayed on the record list screen? No, related records fields cannot be displayed on the record list screen. If you need some data if you have data that you need to be displayed on the record list screen, then maybe it would be better to pull over that information with the lookup field. So it looks like that's all the questions that we have for today. So thank you to everyone for attending today's live training session. If you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to support@kintone.com. You will receive an email in the next 24 hours with the webinar recording. It will also be on our YouTube channel, our customer training video. On behalf of Kintone, thank you for joining us and have a great rest of your day.